lot of minutes, but the mentality.
Yes.
And that's what I love about Avery Bradley.
Yeah. I mean, he's a Piston. And when we talk about, first team all defense, let's take a look at what he does well. When you're first team all defense, you got to be able to play in all areas of the court. We look at him post defending here. Jimmy Butler's a tough cover in the post. And now we're going to look at, his own ball defense. Very rarely do you see somebody, if ever, takes the ball from Kyrie Irving, defending one-on-one. And you got to be able to play all areas of the floor. Now here he is on the help side. He reads the offense, knows the offensive play, help side defense. He's everywhere you need to be. And then this is the most underrated ability that he has is his transition defense. And this is what every coach looks for. They look for players that can get back and cover and help in transition defense. Avery Bradley plays all areas of the floor on the defensive side of the ball, and that's why he's first team all defense.
No, I mean, I love it, man. He takes the challenge every possession. Wow, he could have played with y'all, the bad boys.
Could have played with us, but he couldn't guard you, Grant.
No, hey, you said it, not me.
No, he couldn't guard you.
All right, guys, good work. Next up, shooting to win, how Luke Kennard can make an immediate impact on the Pistons.
The open part of the open court is about really just being candid.
Who was the best point guard of the 1980s, Isaiah?
Come on, Zeke!
That's what open court's all about. Guys who have played the game at its highest level, just kind of sitting around and letting it rip.
These guys have some of the best stories.
And you'll never know where it's going to go.
No offense, Brent. He was the first white guy.
Why would I take offense to that?
I hate it when you do that when you're looking at me.
It's bananas.
That's what makes it fun.
Catch episode highlights at NBA.com/opencourt.
I love the WNBA.
This is gorgeous.
They're huge talents.
I learned a little bit from them as well.
It's good! Nneka Ogwumike puts it home!
They make the game extremely exciting to watch.
Why do I watch them work?
You have got to be kidding me.
2 words. Sick handles. Mad skills.
Spectacular.
Candace Parker. Della Don.
Sue Bird and Diane Taurasi.
Maya Moore. You have a fan in me because you are the best at what you do.
Throw some numbers out at you guys. In games when the Pistons made 11 or more threes last year, they were 9-3. Problem is, that's a really small percentage of an 82-game schedule. Bottom line, 2017, it's tough to win when you can't shoot from the outside, and the Pistons did not do a whole lot of that last year. Enter Luke Kennard, and he says he's ready to take on the responsibility of helping Detroit from the perimeter after shooting nearly 44% from distance during his sophomore season at Duke.
Growing up, I just kind of, that was one of my strengths. It was one of the things that I knew was, the best thing, in my game. And, I think for me, just continuing to improve my shot, it'll translate to the NBA game because, that's, three-point shooting is a big key in the NBA today. So I'm looking forward to, transitioning that into the league. My three-point shooting opens up the rest of my game, just because I'm not just a shooter. I think I can be stereotyped just as a shooter sometimes, but I've really worked on my game and worked to add some things to the mix, and being known as a three-point shooter can be somewhat an advantage because I definitely have more tools to show, and I'm looking forward to it. I loved watching Ray Allen. He was one of the best three-point shooters ever. And recently, during college, I loved to watch Klay Thompson. Loved to watch those two. Those are probably the main two that I really grew up watching, and recently since high school and college. So it was pretty good shooters.
All right, so you look at all of the wings that this Pistons roster is going to have, and some of these guys can play multiple positions. But Grant, let's go to the Dookie here. What can be expected of him? How much do you think Stan Van Gundy is going to rely on a rookie who does well what the Pistons couldn't do at all last year?
No, I mean, historically, Stan Van Gundy, when you look at his time in Miami, Orlando, and, of course, in Detroit, he doesn't like to rely on rookies. But last year, as you saw in that stat, three-point shooting was a concern and a problem. And Luke Kennard, that's one thing he can do. He can shoot the ball. He shoots it with confidence. I was surprised watching him a lot last year at Duke, his ability to put the ball on the floor. And he's 6'6", almost 6'7", and he's deceptively tall. And so can that translate at this level? He's not the best athlete in the world, but he knows how to get to spots. He's got good length, and he has a quick release on his jump shot. So, if he can hit shots and he can play like he played in that clip, then I think, Van Gundy will be forced to trust him and put him out there.
That's why those are highlights, right?
Exactly. You make every shot in a highlight.
What do you think about the impact they can expect from Luke Kennard?
Well, as Grant said, they were deficient in three-point shooting, and they went out and they got a guy that can knock down the three. Now, can he get on the floor and defend? And as we all know, rookies have, they have a difficult time earning the coach's trust and earning the players' trust, and also the referees in the league. So rookies have a very difficult time breaking in, getting minutes, and getting consistent minutes. Will he be able to get out on the floor, get consistent minutes? And Grant, you know this, when you're known as a shooter, in those first 4 games, your shooting percentage is like 32 or 33%. Then it starts to mess with your head. And I remember John Sally when he first came in. John Sally, I don't think scored until it's 20 straight games. He went scoreless. And, he was a good scorer at Georgia Tech. But, scoring the basketball, getting in the game, looking at your field goal percentage, that's tough for rookies. So hopefully his shot selection will be good, and he'll make shots, and he'll get off to a good start.
Curious to see here, Grant, where Kennard fits in, especially what happens to Tobias Harris, a guy that can play the 3, the 4, maybe at times really small, put him at the 5. But Tobias is a guy who's played really well this preseason. He's got to shoot better from 3. He was only about 34% last year, but still really consistent offensive performer.
And he really was. He was a leading scorer last year. Great addition coming in from Orlando. I think the moving of Marcus Morris now will free things up. And you're right. You can put him in a bunch of different spots, maybe like a Rashard Lewis when he was in Orlando playing for Stan Van Gundy. He can put the ball on the floor, transition, post up. But he's got to get a little bit more comfortable with that long ball. But, he needs to take a step. A lot of focus and attention. Reggie Jackson, Andre Drummond, the two sort of focal points of that team. But he has to emerge as that swing man and be a guy who can be consistent day in and day out.
You guys are big football fans. Everybody's favorite player on the football team is the backup quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Ish Smith, wherever he goes, Philadelphia, New Orleans, now Detroit, he's the guy everybody wants to see in the game. They have Reggie Jackson, but tell you, this team plays at its best when Ish Smith is running the point.
Well, the luxury of the backup quarterback or the backup point guard, most of those guys understand who they are, and the team understands who they are. Ish, when he comes into the game, he knows he's a facilitator. He's trying to get everybody the ball. He's trying to make everybody look good. And, of course, everybody wants to play with that guy who wants to make you look good. And, he's not a great